Hi, guys. Welcome back. It's Sports with Mono and Mono. It's June 8th, 2024. We got a beautiful day in New Jersey, right? Every time we talked about the show in the past, it was cold, it was rainy, it was this, but today is nice. So,
Exactly.
um, hope
We actually have
everybody
weather
enjoys
balloons.
their Saturday, right?
Absolutely.
I'm here with Eli, my co-host, and Eli, as you know, we always start off with our monologue, and today, of course, it's always sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summerhill, New York. And I know this is a little bit different, but it's absolutely warranted, and there was no discussion about what the monologue was going to be about today. And 2 days ago, it was June 6th. It was the commemoration of the D-Day invasion in France and Normandy. And over the past few days, I saw some interviews with some of these heroes that were on this beach. It was, man versus man, but it really wasn't fair. And these guys just sacrificed their lives, not knowing that they most likely wouldn't go home. I think the total casualty count was like 2,500, and but it would be remiss of us. And you know how we support our military and our history, Eli, on
Absolutely.
sports with mono and mono. So um, it almost made you cry hearing these guys. And the one quote that just really just hit home for me was they interviewed a gentleman who was uh, 102 years old.
Wow.
And they asked him, how does it feel to be a hero? And he says, I'm not the hero. The people that died on those beaches were the heroes because I got to go home, I got to have a family, and they didn't. So all of our thoughts and prayers are for all of our
It's a powerful
World War
message.
II remaining veterans, and that's why we do the show, because of what those sacrifices by those men gave for us. So that's my monologue today.
I think that's a perfect way to say it. There's not much to add, as we have to be thankful for what has happened.
Oh,
We cannot thank enough all those who died and sacrificed their lives for us, and we
yep.
absolutely honor them day after day,
And
regardless
every
holiday or not holiday. You don't celebrate or you do celebrate. You always have to take time out of your day to thank everybody, and whether it's a firefighter or a police officer, especially what happened in 9/11, we have to thank
absolutely.
each and every one of them, and that
Yep.
is what makes our country so special.
Yep. So thank you to all of those gentlemen. And like I said, every opportunity I've had to meet a World War II veteran, I live right next door to a World War II veteran, and we've become very close. And I just can't say enough. We're going to go into sports now, right? But
Right.
that needed to be mentioned first
No
and foremost,
question.
right?
Absolutely.
All right. So, Eli, this is a busy, busy weekend in sports,
Absolutely.
right? So let's start off, right? I guess because the first game that got underway was game one of the Celtics Mavericks series,
Yes.
right? So the NBA Finals is underway. What's your early impressions here?
Well, I like the Celtics. They're off to a fantastic start. It was a big win for them. Obviously, 107 to 89, the final. I liked how they played out the Celtics. And that's, again, I picked them to win it all, and I'm going to stick with it. The Mavericks look like a good team to start, but I don't know if they're a good team to finish it all. This game may go to 6 if we're lucky. I would not be surprised it ends in 5. Uh, but I like the series so far. Now, again, not my favorite matchup, as I mentioned before, but a good series to start off with. The Celtics look pretty good out there, and they look like the favorable winners so far to win the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
Okay, so my early take, and yeah, this guy Doncic is an unbelievable basketball player. Kyrie Irving's playing at the top of his game, but the key is that this guy Porzingis, who I was never a super fan of,
Right,
but he came back last night, and if he's going to be in the series, that's an added weapon for Boston. And they clearly won game one, but they've been struggling in the playoffs at game two at home. So this is
right.
really going to come down to, and there's
What do they
one
do?
player on there's one player on that court that I don't think gets his just due, and that's Jason Tatum. I know
Right,
Jalen Brown has been, tearing it up, and last night it was Porzingis, but this guy Jason Tatum is not getting his props, and I think he's one of the best players. He's got a lot to prove, They lost last year in the finals, and I think this year he's going to take it and be the MVP of the series, and Boston's going to win this 6, maybe 7. I don't know.
It's a redemption year for sure, and I think you said it best. He needs to step it up, and I think he will. He's been playing good so far, but how well will he rise the bar up to, and what is this next 4 games going to be like? Maybe 6 for sure.
Right. So it's actually a good series. It's worth watching.
It's a decent series, but I would not be surprised though if it comes to a blowout by game 2 or 3, where it's like, all right, Celtics are the favorable winners. I'm not a huge fan compared to the previous years. That's all I could say.
Right, but you're also going to see Kyrie Irving's not going to go 6 for 19. He's gonna start
That's
hitting
true
shots,
too.
and that's why it's going to go 5, 6, maybe 7
Maybe
games.
7. Right.
Right.
No, and that always happens in the NBA for sure.
It sure does. So,
but there's some other NBA news to talk about in the meantime as well. We'll start off with the Los Angeles Lakers, who are targeting to get UConn's Dan Hurley to become their next head coach. That is massive, I think, Jim. I mean, Dan Hurley has done a phenomenal job with his UConn team, and to be coaching LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers is going to change the NBA landscape and game forever, and they are going to be the top contenders to win the championship, as long as they don't win the NBA in-season tournament.
Okay, well, I got some thoughts on this, and I had some conversations with some, young guys that, we're from different generations,
right?
And they said this, that Dan Hurley's going to coach the Lakers, and I said, and I'm going to go on record. I could be wrong. He could be signing a contract today, but I say he's going to stay at UConn. He's from this area. He makes at least $5 million, coming up. The Lakers are going to offer him $20 million a year. And I don't know if I think Dan Hurley has this passion for teaching young college basketball players. He's a 2-time NCAA champion. And you can't go to the NBA and coach guys like Magic Johnson and Anthony Davis. They do what they want. And LeBron James obviously is the coach, the general manager, and the commissioner of the NBA. So I'm going to say, and I hope I'm right, but a lot of people say you're way off.
I'm going to have to disagree, Jim. And this is why. I think it's at the end, we say it all the time. It's all about the Benjamin. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to the Benjamin, because at the end of the day, what the NBA is offering, he could be up there, a Hall of Famer, a whole new level, because he's coaching LeBron James, regardless if he coaches himself or owns the league, which we know is true. I think that he is going to maybe sign with the NBA, and I think that maybe college is good, but not enough. How much more longer can he last with this UConn team? How can they bring them to this March Madness? And remember, March Madness is always a Cinderella story run. You could be the best team in the league, and you could be out in round 1. So how much does he want to be on that joyride for? How long is he going to ride that horse for? That's the question.
I think he loves it. And yes, you're right. If they offer him $20 million, and that's what it's all about. I did hear, and I can't validate this, but I heard somebody say Dan Hurley made a statement that the NBA is like the ultimate prize. So if that's the case, then yes, he will go. But I think he is so local to New York, New Jersey. His wife is there. They make tons of money. $20 million is going to change their life. I don't know. I'm banking on Dan Hurley's commitment to say, I'm staying at UConn and I'm going to build this like a John Wooden franchise back in the 60s and 70s with UCLA.
Local is good, but it's all going to come down to the money. And I think, like I said, everybody's dream is to play in the NBA. I get it. You want to play March Madness in the tournament. That's great. That's 1 or 2 games, but it's always a Cinderella story. There's 64 teams that are eliminated day after day. So, I mean,
but they won 2 in a row.
But how much longer can that last, though? The players aren't going to stay forever. How many more guys can you possibly recruit, though?
Right, but you can't build a dynasty if you didn't win 2 in a row. So now they're on the brink of that. Maybe though the X factor here is that the Lakers are going to draft Bronny James because that's what LeBron
Well, I
wants,
mean,
right?
there's no question.
So he'll be on the Lakers, and I guess they think that Dan Hurley can take Bronny James and turn him into
The next LeBron James.
the next LeBron James. So this came out of the blue, completely out of the blue. Dan Hurley, of all people, like maybe the Lakers, you don't think they offered Jay Wright a contract,
That's true.
3 years ago, or whoever. So
Yeah.
we'll see, but that's an interesting thing. And the NBA playoffs, what's tomorrow's game too?
Yes, tomorrow's game 2, 8 p.m. ABC.
Okay.
And also, two other notes for the NBA real quick. The NBA draft round 1 will be live at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, June 26th on ABC and ESPN. Round 2 will be live at 4 p.m. on Thursday on ESPN. And the final note I have is NBC looks to have secured a major deal with the NBA rights, which will include stream games. However, TNT may not be out of the picture just yet, as there are new rumors coming out that they're in talks with the NBA on a 4th smaller package deal. Now, we already know Amazon is looking to secure the NBA in-season tournament rights, but now it looks like TNT may still stay in the game, but not get the package that they originally had previously, which is the contract right now. So we'll see how that will factor in.
Wow. Yeah, this thing's moving and shaking with leagues and negotiating deals and who's going to broadcast this and who's going to broadcast that.
And I think the commissioner, Adam Silver, spoke a lot about the streaming rights and saying that's just a new game right before game 1 of the NBA Finals. And we'll see how that factors in. What's the motive here? I mean, Peacock is just one of the many out there. Not the greatest, but it's out there.
You're right. You got it. So, Eli, let's move on to the NHL. And
before we do so, we have a comment from Frankie. I know you're on NBA, but talk about Rizzo needs to go. And if I'm him, I'm suing the Yankees. Prior to the concussion, was having the best season of his career, and the medical team let him play for weeks.
Thank you, Frankie, for the comment. And we're going to talk about that when we get on to Major League Baseball, because the Yankees are the talk of the town for sure. And I know your feelings on Rizzo, but let's get back to you. But thank you for the comment.
Absolutely.
We're going to move on to the NHL.
Yes, indeed.
And
we also posted it. Yes. We also posted a comment on all the YouTube channels and Facebook. The question of the day is to vote now on what should the new Utah NHL team's name be. It came down to the top 6, and they are Utah Blizzard, Hockey Club, Mammoth, Outlaws, Venom, or Yeti. So vote now to see what do you think the new NHL team should be. It's down to those 6. Jim, what's your pick on that?
I'll take the Blizzard here.
Yeah, Blizzard sounds great. I'm gonna go with Yeti. Utah Yeti.
Oh, no, not Yeti. No.
Yeah, I mean, just the Yeti Mountain. I mean, it just sounds right. Either Yeti or Blizzard. That just sounds like the right name. But yeah, go ahead, vote, and let us know in the comments what you think the new NHL team should be.
Very good. So, Eli, let's talk about the NHL real quick, because it's been a tough week for Ranger fans. And
yes, we all slept, us Devils fans. We slept comfortably. Every person that's not a Ranger fan slept comfortably at night. And we're all thrilled that the Panthers are moving on. Go Panthers. Go win the Stanley Cup. Game 1 tonight, ABC.
So let's look at the matchup, right? The Edmonton Oilers. You got Connor McDavid, maybe arguably the best player in the game. And
right.
They got other goal scorers. A couple other guys scored 50 goals this year. So they're a high-flying thing. And you and I both know, because you're a Devils fan, I'm a Rangers fan. So the Eastern Conference is a different type of hockey than the Western Conference.
Correct.
They're high-flying, high-scoring. But I think this is actually, I know my Rangers got knocked out. I was a little disappointed, but you know what? That's hockey. And we continuously talk about it. Toughest trophy to win in sports.
No question.
So you got Edmonton on this side, and you really got to root for Connor McDavid, because if you're the best player, like he's the new Sidney Crosby, all these young superstars, and he will win a Stanley Cup, whether it's this year or next year. But then you have the Florida Panthers, and we saw what they did against the Rangers. They manhandled the Rangers. They really outplayed them, and without question, they deserved to make the finals. They were in the finals last year. They lost, so they're hungry. So I'm going to go with the Panthers in the series because I think McDavid is going to get his chances down the road. I mean, he's only 8 years into the league, but I think it's a great matchup, and I think there's going to be more viewership than people think because of these Cinderella stories like the Panthers. And
Absolutely.
what's your thoughts? What's your
Well,
thoughts?
my thoughts on it is, well, number one, this is the longest matchup mile distance between the two. You have to travel all the way to Edmonton and Florida. It's about over 2,000 miles separated, which is pretty insane to think about. A lot of
That's
flying
right.
that you got to be taking note of.
That's a good point.
I love this matchup. I really do. And number one, the Panthers are on a Cinderella run. They came back last year. They almost won the Stanley Cup. They were the talk of the town. But for this year, this is their year. They took care of the Rangers like if they were eating a piece of cake. And now they're going to be playing against Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, who, don't get me wrong, is a fantastic team. They're tough. And Connor McDavid's definitely one of the arguably the best right now in the game. That's not Connor Bedard out there in the NHL. I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup. My pick is the Florida Panthers. And my number one reason why, both teams did not touch the trophy. The trophy that secures you to go to the Stanley Cup final. Fine. The Panthers did that last year. The Panthers won it first this year. They
That's
didn't
not
touch it.
enough. That's
So
half a cup. Yeah, that's half a cup.
I think that the Panthers are going to win it. And I think it's all because of the curse. They didn't touch the mini cup, the trophy.
All right. Well, it
And
should be a great. It should really be a great series because
yes,
Florida, they're so relentless. They just the defense and everything, and they really shut down the Rangers. And
no
this is
question.
coming from a Ranger fan. They got outplayed basically in every game, and if it wasn't for Igor Shishkin, it would have been an absolute
It would
blowout.
have
They
been a
could have
game
lost in four
for
games. Yeah.
absolutely, and that's no question. The Rangers are lucky to have Igor. If they don't have Igor, the Rangers are not the Rangers, and that's no question. You could say the great about the players, but you could look back at all the highlights and stuff, and it's all Igor, Igor, Igor. And don't get me wrong, I was rooting for Igor a couple times when he was up for a goaltender of the year for the, and I was rooting for him 100% because he was the best goalie out there right now.
Right. So
there's no
with
question.
Eli, I was thinking about it because I heard this and I didn't realize it. It's been 30 years since the Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup, right? And the last one,
I believe it was the Canadians.
It was the Canadians. You're
so.
right. But this is going back in history when I watched Gretzky, Messier, Curry, Anderson, which is one of the greatest powerhouse hockey teams ever. So I'm looking forward to that. And game one's tonight, right? Tonight?
Yes, game one tonight, 8 p.m. ABC. All the games on ABC. And Mark Messier, who is a panelist on an in-game analysis and studio host, has signed a new deal with ESPN, so you'll be seeing a lot more of him. So enjoy his commentary.
He's
And
one of my all-time favorite sports athletes, Messier.
And he's a great analyst too. Great combo with PK Subban and Steve Levy. One other note, though, from the NHL, the Stanley Cup Final will broadcast an American Sign Language broadcast on ESPN Plus and Sportsnet Plus for those in Canada. It's the first fully immersive viewing experience for the deaf community to a pro league. So that's pretty special that the NHL is considering that. And I think that is a nice move that they decided to do.
Good. And listen, I got one more thing before we move over to Major League Baseball. So,
correct.
The hockey player Joe Pavelski played 18 years in the National Hockey League.
Yes.
Never won a Stanley Cup, but he's got 476 goals, 592 assists. One of the all-time greats. He's got to go to the Hall of Fame, but he doesn't have a Stanley Cup record, and that's got to be so difficult to, as a player for 18 years and not get the experience to hold that cup up, which is so monumental in the world of sports.
No
but
question.
He was a great player, tough guy, played a lot of years with the Sharks, and he played a lot of years with the Stars. So great player, no longer going to be in the league next year.
It's horrible to
right?
say, but congratulations on a
Yep.
job well done for sure.
Good. So Eli, let's move on because I know Frankie is sitting there waiting for my response on the Rizzo comment. So here we are, right? What, 50, 60 games into the season, maybe more, right?
Right.
Maybe more. And the Yankees and the Phillies are just tearing it up, right? And in the Yankees Dodgers, they lost last night in extra innings, which the Yankees aren't very good in extra innings. But you got to see Shohei Ohtani, you got to see Aaron Judge, and Soto didn't play last night, but he's fine. He'll be back.
It's a battle
So
of the legends
I'm
last
even
night.
surprised. I'm even surprised by this ferocious start that the Yankees have had. And as Frankie pointed out, maybe there's some little holes that they have to fill. But right now, with Judge and Stanton, of all people, Stanton's hitting. Um, with Soto and Judge, I mean, the offense, they're just carrying these guys. And Judge is on his way to an MVP season after a very, very slow start. But the only question mark a lot of people have, like Frankie did, is Rizzo at first. And I think he's an outstanding first baseman. But
Right.
he's never been the same since that concussion that he suffered. And Frankie's absolutely right. So, but I think he's adequate enough. He's hitting what 250 now. He'll go on a tear, but he's not. He's not. But you have some guys that could fill in, right? You could put Cabrera at first, whatever. But right now they're going on all cylinders. The Phillies are just almost unstoppable, and the Mets are the Mets. So,
I mean, you can't
but it's
talk
great,
about that. I mean, yeah, the Mets
right?
are the
But
Mets.
it was great to see last night like a packed house at Yankee Stadium to watch this kid Otani, right? He's kind of must see TV, right? And
Yeah.
it's been exciting, but the Yankees are really on a roll.
Yeah, it's been exciting to watch the Yankees play. I mean, there's been ups and downs. This is the usual start. I've said it time and time out. It's a roller coaster season. The Yankees are at the top of the peak right now. It's going to start decreasing. However, I don't trust the Yankees to be this top team to win it all come time in the fall. This just does not seem like the year. When they're off to this type of good start, that does not mean the postseason will be good for them. That's just all I got to say. And that's no negativity.
Exactly.
It's just that's just how the baseball league works.
Right, but we understand that it's a 162 game season,
Yes.
and the Baltimore Orioles are going to be there every step of the way. They got this kid Gunnar Henderson, who's a next superstar kind of player. Um, excuse me, but the Yankees got Garrett Cole coming back,
Yes.
but baseball. So Eli, the Yankees played a 4-game series against the Minnesota Twins, and
Yes.
the Minnesota Twins are horrible. But
Right.
when we think about, right, all these guys and Soto's contracts coming up next year and how much is he worth and how much is he going to get? Like, remember 2 years ago when Carlos Correa was like the number one guy in the free agent market,
Right.
and he got rejected by, was it the Giants or the Mets? And so they paid him a fortune. And I watched him play 4 games against the Yankees. The guy's hitting 220 with like 4 home runs,
Yeah.
like 18 runs batted in. So you got to be careful in baseball with
In the
these
money market as
negotiations.
well.
And that's just one guy, right? Chris Bryant, remember, former MVP in
Yes.
the National League, signs with the Rockies, and he hasn't done anything. Robbie Ray, right? Won a Cy Young 3 years ago. And now, he signs this huge deal with Seattle, and they don't produce. So
No.
that's what's so difficult about baseball is trying to, develop a
Produce on
team
the right
that
level.
you can get these guys under contract and see how it goes.
Absolutely. And we'll see how obviously it all plays out, but that is just one definite note to look at.
Yeah. And we got a Mets Phillies game in London, a 2-game series coming up,
That's
right? You
right.
know that, right?
Yeah, I know about that. And it's gonna be we'll see how they adjust to it. Maybe the Mets will do lucky and better in London. You think? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. it doesn't intrigue me that much that they're going to London, but I guess it's kind of cool, right? There
It's
are
cool to
friends over
say
there.
they're playing there, but I think how I look at it is, will they win a game down there, or are they just going to be the Mets? They can't win in the United States, Canada, or London. That's how I view.
Yep. Oh, and so by the way, Eli, I want to bring this up because we've mentioned minor league baseball and that
Yes,
before. So Garrett Cole's had having a start maybe tomorrow in Somerset, New Jersey for the Patriots. And if you get, that's kind of going to be a tough ticket because you also have an up and coming prospect, Jason Dominguez on the
yes,
Yankees, who looks like, he's a can't miss, and Spencer Jones is there. So if you can't make it to the Yankee game, go to a minor league game or something
absolutely.
because it's
I'm
just as
doing
entertaining.
I'm
Yep.
doing a sports broadcasting camp, a different one this year. That's a New Jersey specific one, run by Dave Popkin. And we're actually going to see a Somerset Patriots game, and we're going to be doing some broadcast stuff there come time in about 2 weeks. So we'll see what I can get out of the deal there. We'll see. We'll
Very
be
good.
watching for sure.
Yeah. So two other names that kind of pop up right now with Major League Baseball is the job that Luis Heel is doing for the
Yeah.
Yankees. I mean, this kid is lights out. I mean, the last 8 games, he has less than a 1 ERA, and he's 8-1 in the season. He should be the starter in the All-Star game, but we didn't see this coming, and that's part of why the Yankees are
The
doing what they're
Yankees.
doing.
Right.
So him, and how about this other kid? He could be the next phenom, right? Paul Skeens for the
Yeah.
Pirates, right? Looking really, really good, this kid, right?
Absolutely. He's looking
Yeah,
pretty
so
good, and the new star in the league.
that's what I'm saying. That's why we bring it up.
Absolutely.
All right, Eli. So real quick, just 2 minutes on the NFL, right? So
Okay, and then we'll go to Belmont. Yes.
right. So Justin Jefferson signs this record-breaking contract,
Hey, it's a
which
shocker.
is this is gonna change the whole parable of the wide receivers, right? The Jamar Chases and all these other
Yep.
guys. So yeah, we've talked about it verbatim that they're paying offensive linemen. They're
Now it's
paying,
wide
obviously, the
receivers.
quarterbacks get paid, and now the wide receivers are getting the bulk of the money. So,
I mean, are we surprised? No, I mean, look at the guys out there. I mean, they're phenomenal. They're the key to success, but
there
it's a
is.
pretty big
Right.
contract, especially for the Vikings that are not at the level that we want them to be yet, considering their
Exactly.
previous run. So that's a big shock there for the Viking side.
Yep, it is. And listen, one other quick thing that,
Yep, and then I'll have some notes.
yeah, because B.J. Thompson, from the defensive end for the Kansas City Chiefs, had an episode cardiac arrest, right? We think about what happened last year, and this is part of the game, but it sounds like he's doing much, much better than DeMar Hamlin was in the
Yeah,
beginning of that episode. So we wish him all the best, and
absolutely.
that's
That's
all we
how it
could
seems
say.
like to go. I have some notes for the NFL as well. I'll begin with this. The Eagles, remember Dom Sandoro, who is the security guard for the Eagles? That
I
big guy.
do.
Yeah, well, now he is the new senior advisor to the general manager, chief secretary officer, and game day coaching operations for the Eagles. New upgrade for him. Congratulations. I mean,
Wow.
wow. What a move up.
So that means if I went into my boss's office and tipped over his desk, I'd get promoted.
Pretty much. That's all you get. Exactly. You got a
Right.
new title. Congrats to him.
Got it.
Other news out there. Chiefs re-signed wide receiver McCole Hardman to a 1-year deal. Christian McCaffrey signs a 2-year, $19 million per year extension with the 49ers.
Yeah.
And the NFL's preseason schedule has been officially released. Some of the primetime national games include the Hall of Fame game, Texans versus Bears, and the Hall of Fame game on Thursday, August 1st. The August 18th week 2 game, Saints versus the 49ers on Fox at 8 p.m. Preseason week 3, Colts Bengals Prime Video, and Cardinals Broncos CBS 4:30, and Patriots Commanders 8 p.m. NBC. So there is a Thursday night game in the preseason era, but your preseason games have been announced. The Giants will take on the Jets on August 24th at 7:30 p.m. the Jets are the home team for that game, not the Giants. Compared
I
to the
don't watch preseason football. You know that, Eli.
I know, but I just we have to bring it up because it's a sports show. We
Of
have to,
course. No, I'm
you
glad
know.
you did
And
because
now
other
listen, I
people
went to a
do.
preseason game last year because I wanted to see Aaron Rodgers play, and I saw more playing time in Aaron Rodgers that preseason game versus the Jets and Giants than I did in the regular season. You know how it
Yeah,
ended up: four
he
plays and
lasted four. He lasted 4 plays, right?
more
Yeah.
plays and the talk of the town.
Yeah. Okay, good. So let's move on, Eli. The French Open, and we do
Oh,
have a lot of. We'll get to
yeah. Let me
the
switch grab them.
Belmont in a minute.
Yep.
I just wanted to cover the French Open, and we've talked about this, right? Nadal, French Open, he owns it, won 14 championships there, and he's just, starting to have these injuries that he can't overcome. So we've talked about the changing of the guard. We brought up Sinner, um, Zverev, and Alcaraz, and guess what? Those are the guys in the French Open final. And this kid, I could have sworn Carlos Alcaraz was only 21 3 years ago when he came on, but
Yep.
now he is the next up and comer. We're starting to see the potential for the new Federer, Djokovic, who had to withdraw from the French Open because
Yeah.
of a knee injury. So we're seeing the names change, and it's really good for men's tennis. And Alcaraz, this kid, he's 21 years old, and these guys are playing till they're 36.
Well, yeah.
He's got 15 years to win, you know,
A lot.
major after major. So he's going to be up there when it's all said and done. But it's going to be sad not to be able to see Rafael Nadal and Roger
And all the
Federer and Djokovic, and so anyway, so that's the final tomorrow. Him against Zverev, and
should be fun
I
to watch.
can't see him leaving this one on the table. Not at
No.
all.
All right.
On the women's side, so there was a very interesting thing. Like I said, no different. We're starting to see this on the women's side as well. Iga Swiatek, right, the number one player in the world. So she reaches the final. And but the more interesting fact was the women's semifinal, right? They had this girl, Mira Andreeva, and she played Jasmine Paulini. And Paulini is an up and comer too, but Andreessi was only 17 years old. So that would have been a great story. But it turns out it's going to be Swiatek versus Paulini in the finals. And I think there's no question that Swiatek will win this match. But French Open, very exciting. I know Mike Garvey down in Florida listens and hopes we talk about this. And we do. We do.
All right. Yeah, we do. We will
All
hope to
right,
talk.
Eli. So bring up that little thing you had there because this is the
All right.
Belmont Stakes this weekend. And we've covered the Derby, we covered the Preakness, and now we're at the Belmont, which doesn't really feel like the Belmont because it's not at
That's
Belmont
Saratoga.
Park and it's not a mile and a half, which is what always separated, the men from the boys, and why a couple of horses that won the first two legs couldn't win the final because it's a mile and a half. Well, this is at Saratoga Springs, which, by the way, is one of the most beautiful places on the planet.
Yes.
And so the race today, and I guess I could say a couple of my horses in the Derby and the Preakness came pretty close. My first one lost by a nose, Sierra Leone, but that's horse racing, as they say.
Absolutely. So it was Kentucky
So I'm
Derby.
going to give you my 3 picks for today.
All
Okay.
right.
I still like Sierra Leone and Mystic Dan. I think those two again are going to battle it out for that coveted Belmont Stakes trophy. It's only a mile and a quarter, same distance as the Kentucky Derby, but I like that, and I always throw in a third if you want to go to the and play something for worth a sawbuck kind of thing. I like Antiquarium either to
Okay.
come in second, third, or something up there. But I think the race is Sierra Leone and
Mystic Dan.
Mystic Dan today. So You
Yeah,
couldn't get a more beautiful day in Saratoga. So this
it's a
is
beautiful day. And my picks: Sierra Leone, Mystic Dan, Sees the Gray. But Sierra Leone, my top pick to win it all. It'll be on 6 p.m. on Fox. 6:41 p.m. is the call-up time. So just be
good.
prepared. 6 o'clock, Star Fox is the channel.
Excellent. Excellent.
Enjoy
All
the
right. So
Belmont.
we covered a lot of those good things, Eli.
Yes, we did. Time
So
now,
let's move on to our random points of interest. Okay. Which
which
of
is
course is sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut. And like I said, we couldn't be more grateful for their support. And also, Eli, we could bring it up. It's sponsored by Vital Solutions. So you have a
yes. That will be for the movie. We'll bring that up for the movie.
okay,
That's the movie
good.
sponsor.
All right, so I got a couple of random points. I know you sure got a bunch too.
Absolutely.
So the RBC in Canada on the PGA Tour, great story. Robert McIntyre from Scotland wins the tournament, and his father was his caddy. Flew over from overseas, and that was just a great feel good story. His first PGA Championship title, but it was very emotional to see him and his father, together after all of the training and the practicing that you have to do. That was great for the PGA. And that's why I keep saying the PGA is still the number one tour in the world. You can have
Absolutely.
live all you want, you can have anything else. But that was great. Congratulations to Robert McIntyre and his father.
Absolutely.
From sticking with the world of golf, today we got a young phenom, I guess that right? Isn't that what we call them? Phenoms, 15 years old, playing
All
in the
right.
Rocket Mortgage tournament today. And I don't know if I didn't see how he did in his first two rounds, but he was a star and the first one on the Corn Ferry Tour at 15 years old. So that's a good story to keep an eye on, right? A kid 15, probably not going to win the tournament, but got to keep an
No,
eye
but
on it.
it's fun to watch. Know that he's participating.
Yeah. Also, this past week, I think it was what game was it? Last Sunday? It was Lou Gehrig Day in Major League Baseball. And Lou Gehrig, as you know, is one of my all-time favorite. If you look at his numbers, they're just almost ridiculous. But it was 99 years ago that he took over for Wally Pipp and played his first game at first base for the Yankees and went on to play 2,130 consecutive games and dies of ALS. And just one, like I said, we brought it up prior to the Yankees, one of my favorite sports movies of all time. But I watched a Yankeeography on Yes of Lou Gehrig, and if you haven't seen it, watch
Check
it.
it
You'll
out.
give an appreciation for how incredible a man this guy was. Courage
Absolutely.
beyond belief. Major League Baseball, Tucupita Marcano, and this is Eli, something we've talked about, right? How gambling and everybody, they're all in. This guy is now banned for life. So he was betting on games and all this.
And we didn't go the route we wanted to, but you know how it is.
Right. But this is not the first domino to fall, right? We saw it in
No.
the NBA already. We've seen
NFL.
it in the Major League Baseball. We're going to see it in other sports. But it's unfortunate. It's the evil side of what these major sports have adopted, and they're all sponsored by these. And I'm not even going to mention them by names, but these sports books. It's just I just think it's out of control. I do.
Absolutely. It is. I mean, it's
Right.
all about the money.
So, Eli, just one other quick thing as a random point. So, our resident soccer expert, Mr. Diego Cruz,
Yep.
I just wanted to wish him a very happy 60th birthday.
Yes.
Because he's been, like I said, he always texts me and sends me comments that we don't talk enough about soccer, but when it's relevant, we will. And I just wanted to wish him a happy birthday and bring on your random points, my friend.
All righty. We'll begin over on the WNBA side. We had a controversial foul with Caitlin Clark last week. It was
Oof,
talkable. I mean, geez, that was a hey, how do you even go
terrible.
by that? It was horrible. You didn't even play the sport. That was horrible.
I would call one word to describe that would be thuggery.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that would be it. Because that wasn't a joke. I mean, come on, that's it's football we played. No,
But she handled herself well and said, "Hey, it's
absolutely.
part of the game." So she's a classy kid. But
Good for her. And Connecticut Sun right now are in first place, 9-0. Still have a perfect record. The Liberty fall in second, 9-2. Couple games today. Liberty Sun on ABC, Dream Sky on NBA TV, and you have 4 games tomorrow that are not televised. Over now to some other random points. The NCAA has passed a new guideline allowing schools to put corporate logos, such as, for example, Geico, on the field during regular season games. Usually, this was never allowed except during bowl games and championship games. Now, the new rule allows them to do so. And as we all know, it's all about the Benjamin. So that's what the NCAA has passed. The NCAA has also announced its 12-team playoff format bracket, including the national championship date set for 7:30 p.m. on ESPN from Atlanta on January 20th, which is a Monday. And they also announced that TNT will also get the 2 games, as previously mentioned, on December 21st, a Saturday, which they will be competing with the NFL. Also has games. So competition is, pretty much dead here. Obviously, the NFL is going to win it all.
yeah.
The full schedule is available on ESPN press release and the college football NCAA page. And we have a comment real quick from Andrew before I continue. Agree with thuggery. Good morning to us, and good morning.
Well, I don't know what else to describe it. I mean, this is just, this kid's coming into the league and they're going to rough her up. I don't know what else to call it. But
Exactly.
that was so blatant. That was Draymond Green. That was Bill
That's
Lambier.
what you see. The tough NBA players always get suspended. It happened in the WNBA. That's what happened. Other notes that happened: St. Augustine wins the non-public A baseball championship. Gloucester Catholic are your back-to-back state champions, winning the non-public B state championship title. Those games were postponed because of weather, which was crazy on Thursday. If you knew about it, you knew about it. If you don't, you missed a lot. And that game happened yesterday, and you have the regular section games today happening down over in South Jersey. Other notes. This is non-sports related, but we have to bring it up because why not? Dr. Pepper is now the second biggest soda brand in the United States, according to reports. Pepsi, which held the title at number 2 since 1985, is no longer number 2. Coke remains at number 1. So that's if you're interested to know that. That's
Hey,
you're interested to know. We talk about everything.
I'm a Dr. Pepper guy, so I'm not
All right.
surprised by this.
And also, what fair warning? Because I was on a Six Flags field trip with the school. Fair warning: if you're going to Six Flags, bring your own water, because we had the dining plan because we were at the school. But if you were to buy a bottle of water, which I had to buy a bottle of water there, $8 for a bottle of water, $6.29, $1.30 service surcharge. Disney's cheaper, by the way. $3.75 at Disney. The stadiums are about $5, $8 at Six Flags.
That's called gouging. That's called gouging.
It's called inflation at its finest, folks. So make sure you bring your own water when you go to Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. I had to bring that up. The last note is thank you to Pat Sajak for all the memories. 41 seasons hosting Wheel of Fortune. He said his goodbye last night. I did shed a tear, and it was tough to watch last night. And of course, that him along with Alex Trebek and Bob Barker are the 3 greatest game show hosts of all time. I know every kid, including you, Jim, I'm sure, wanted to stay home to watch The Price is Right and Bob Barker. I think that was the heart of being home from school and being sick, I think, for you guys back in the day.
I saw 5,000 of them. I actually watched Pat Sajak's last show last night.
Yeah.
Very eloquent, nice farewell speech. And 41 years. Pretty cool.
Yeah. But I'm sure when you were a kid, was that what you want to do? Like stay home when you were sick to watch Prices Right, or like
Yeah, it wasn't a diehard, One of my favorite game shows was called Sale of the Century.
Oh yes, Sale of the Century. That was great with
I love that
Jim
one.
Perry. Yes.
Jim Perry. That's absolutely right.
I love Card Sharks too. Card Sharks is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that wasn't one of
Match Game. I love Match Game. It was always a fun show to watch.
I
Um,
know you love Game Show Network. I know.
I love all the games. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. That's what most kids back in the day would want to do, and I'm sure a lot of us loyal listeners would agree with what I'm saying about it, about watching The Price is Right. That was like the perk of being home from school. But
Yeah,
yeah,
faking being sick, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
just watch Price is Right. And actually, the funny story yesterday, a guy on the showcase bid $39,500. The actual retail price in the showcase was 39,501. He was off by $1, and he won a double showcase. That was pretty cool to
Wow.
see. Talk
Wow.
about exactly right. $1 off. Gee.
That's pretty good.
All
Pretty
right,
good.
that's my random points. That was a lot of
All
fun.
right. I have one more, and this is very important to me, and it's actually a shout out to all of our fans. But next week will be Eli's and I's 1 year anniversary of doing
Yeah,
our show together. And this young man, when I first met him, we had to get to feel each other out and see if
yeah.
the chemistry works. And I think it does work. I mean, I think he's a really young, intelligent, and he's got a lot of ambition. And I think he's brought a lot to our show. And Eli, just before we forget it next week in the show, it's been a great year doing the show with you. And I'm glad you're with us.
Well, thank you, Jim, and it's been an honor to be on Sports Mano Mano. When I first met with Bobby to do all the baseball games at St. Mary's, I always saw this show that he did called Sports with Mano and Mano, and I was like, "Gee, I want to be on that show, like learn about it more." And then I did. I helped out with the summer, and then we just said, "You know what? This is a permanent thing." And then I became the new co-host, and I've been absolutely thrilled to do it. Viewership is up, subscriber numbers are up, and that was exactly the goal I had. And now the next future coming after summer, create Instagram, website, and new goals set for the channel
Yep.
and to grow the show even more. And I cannot thank you enough for doing what you do every week.
Well, the pleasure was all mine, young man. And yeah, like I met your parents and your family, and you certainly know today. And I'll bring the old time stuff up. And we got a good mix, good chemistry, and a lot of good feedback on your presentation as you mature through this whole process. And couldn't be more delighted to have you.
Thank you very much.
All right, so Eli, we got a recommendation this week, and it
Yes, and that's
happens to be a
sponsored by
movie.
Vital Selection. Scan the QR code to learn more. They're the official sponsor. Movie pick photos and videos.
Yep. So this week, because I just happened to flip around and I seen it, and I haven't seen it in a while. Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay.
Have you never seen it?
Never seen it.
It's a great movie. It's funny. It's literally just about what we talked about. High school kids want to take a day off, and then they go roughhouse around the city of Chicago. Matthew Broderick, very, very funny. Great
All
movie.
right. Well, I mean, I was at Six Flags. They're like themed towards Warner Brothers, so I guess I'll have to recommend Space Jam. I mean, Space Jam 1, 2. I mean, nothing beats the new with their old one. I mean, but Space Jam will be my pick.
All right.
Bringing back all the Warner Brothers and basketball into the mix.
Yeah. But no, if you get a chance, that's one of my recommendations. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Good movie.
All right. And we have a video.
Eli, we got a video and a picture, and these are very, very special to me. So pay attention, audience.
I will start with the video. Let me just get that. And here we go.
Turn up the volume.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hudson. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, so we need context here.
Okay.
Oh,
on the
hold
right,
on. Sorry,
obviously.
my bad. I took you off. You have to start from the beginning. Yep, you're good.
On the right was my 2-year-old grandson who just turned 2 last week, and that was his birthday, and he was there with his big sister, who is absolutely the most wonderful young lady. She's 6 years old, and she just adores and takes care of this kid so wonderfully. And we have another picture here, right?
Yeah.
That's my granddaughter Hayden and my daughter Nicole. How beautiful is that? And that was her dance recital last night. So I needed to bring that up on the show. And
Absolutely.
like I said, happy birthday to my buddy Huddy. And great job by Hayden last night. And they're everything to me. They're everything. So.
That's awesome. It really is.
All right, Eli, let's move on to notable passings. And, the first one that came to mind was Larry Allen, former offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys. And he's in the Hall of Fame. And he won a Super Bowl. And I didn't realize his record. I mean, he made like 11
money.
Pro Bowls and stuff like that. So he was, this is very sad. He was only 52 years old. And
Yeah.
but from Cowboys lore, I mean, apparently I didn't put him up there in the upper echelon, but the more and more I looked at his resume, the more and more I've heard from people that watched him play just like I did. This guy was a legitimate Hall of Famer, and I'm giving him his props. And, he passed away on vacation with his family at age 52 years old. Terrible.
Wow. That's horrible.
Right? So fortunately, that's the only one
We
I
have
have
one more.
for today.
We have one more. Last night, astronaut William Anders, who served during the Apollo 8 mission, who was known for the Earthrise photo, he died in a plane crash near Seattle. He was 90 years old, born in 1933.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even know about that. That's terrible.
It's not awesome. It's horrible.
No, I didn't mean awesome in the sense that it's awesome that I didn't know about it, and that's so prominent because my feelings on the space program and all
right.
that. Oh, it's terrible.
And they just lifted off the Boeing rocket the other day, the International Space Station. It took forever to launch, but the deal got through and it went up. So congrats on a well job done by NASA and Boeing. But nothing beats a comfortable SpaceX rocket.
No, and I know, and I actually saw something. It was of all of the rocket launches in the past 2 years, the United States has, believe it or not, 127 or something up in that area of rocket launches.
We've been leading, and I think that's because of the Starlink rockets. They've been non-passenger, just like cargo test runs. They've been thrown up to space. SpaceX is a big part of that, and that's the hard work of NASA and Elon Musk and crew. So, just want to throw that out there. Yeah.
Oh, and say the name of that astronaut again.
William Anders.
William Anders. Wow.
A-N-D-R-S. Yeah.
90 years old, and to die in a plane crash when he was an astronaut is so
that's
bizarre.
Horrible. Yeah. It was near Seattle, so it must have really been a bad incident that happened. Obviously, we'll see more traffic control details, but that was what the pop news story that came up this morning.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. That's very notable for sure because of, you consider that a hero. Space exploration is probably the most dangerous thing you could do, right?
Yeah, no question. It was
okay, guys. So listen, thank you again. Thank you for the comments, Frankie. We'll figure the Rizzo thing out.
Eventually.
Eli, again, what's our schedule for next week? What are we doing?
We are good for 10 o'clock. For the rest of June, we should be 10 o'clock. Any issues, we will alert everybody immediately.
Okay.
Are you good for 10?
Absolutely.
All righty then. That's
so thank you all loyal listeners. Send us an email at sportswithmanoandmano@gmail.com. And, of course, like I said, support our sponsors, Coriano Trucking, Lynch Toyota, and VitalSelections.com. Eli, enjoy the beautiful day and have a great week.
Have a great week, and thank you all for watching. Have a good one, everyone.
Hey, guys. Bye.